Hi everybody, you know who it is, Liam Martin here from Running Remote, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something that I have wanted to talk about for quite a while, but I didn't actually have the quantitative data to be able to give to you guys to prove my point, and it has come today. There has been a massive shift in how we build tech companies that's been going on for a long time, but pandemic really accelerated it and made it fundamentally irreversible. In 2020, San Francisco was a place to be if you wanted your startup to get funded and scale. In 2021, it's not the case anymore. And in this video, I'm gonna show you just how much of a massive shift the business world has gone through. So before we get into that, why don't you subscribe to this YouTube channel and like this video? It helps out the algorithm quite a bit, and it allows me to keep making weird, funky videos in my closet for you. Let's jump into it. So Y Combinator's co-founder, Paul Graham, which is the largest and most successful accelerator in the world, published some really interesting stats on his Twitter, showing how monumental the remote first shift is occurring. Let's take a look at this now, and hopefully it will get like popped up here, or maybe right in front of my face. I don't know, it's up to the video editor. So the share of startups actually founded in San Francisco dropped from 41% to 28% in 2021, while the share of remote startups grew by 7 times, from 6% to 42%. So for the first time, San Francisco is not the tech center of the world anymore. I don't think I can quite communicate to you how monumental this is as a shift. For at least as long as I've been in the tech sector, which is probably about 15 years, San Francisco has always been the shining light on the hill where everyone goes to be able to build their tech startups. And for the first time in history, it is no longer the central place. Y Combinator's managing director, Michael Siebel, in his interview to Verge, said he was shocked at how well remote worked and how it made YC more accessible to founders from around the world. Also, Mark Andreessen from Andreessen & Horowitz, which is arguably the best venture capital organization in the world, recently was quoted saying about remote work, "It is perhaps the most important thing that's happened in my lifetime, a consequence of the internet that's maybe even more important than the internet itself." He believes it's permanently divorcing physical location from economic opportunity, and it's giving us a real shot at radically expanding the number of good jobs in the world while also dramatically improving the quality of life for millions or even billions of people. He continues on to say, "We may at long last shatter the geographic lottery, opening up opportunity to countless people who aren't lucky enough to be born in the right place. And people are leaping at the opportunities this shift is already creating, moving both homes and jobs at furious rates." Why is this happening? Well, I think it's actually down to 3 major forces. Force number 1 is reducing that geographic lottery that Mark Andreessen had talked about. Not only did it become easier for remote startups to get funded, they also get a huge competitive advantage by being able to hire the best talent across the globe at a fairer cost. Innovative collaboration tools have enabled distributed teams to perform on par with co-located teams. GitHub, GitLab, Slack, Zoom, Trello, etc. They didn't actually exist more than 15 years ago. So for the first time in history, it's possible to recruit and collaborate with talented people from anywhere in the world. This is such a game changer when you recognize the ability to be able to take advantage of talent that's not just located in your local area. And for me, that's something that I've done for over a decade. But for some of you that might be relatively new to this process, you've maybe even never recognized it. It is now time to recognize this because it is going to be the way the rest of the world works. Force number 2 is the remote technology stack is basically complete. Applications like Slack, Zoom, Asana, Gmail, Time Doctor have all come up over the last decade and are meaningfully deployable at scale. So you no longer have to actually pay $10,000 a month for video conferencing software. As an example, it's basically free. Force number 3 is COVID basically was the gateway drug into real remote scale. When the pandemic hit, a lot of companies could try out remote work for the very first time. That has spurred on a massive shift in how work is done. Pre-pandemic, 4% of the US workforce worked remotely. 1 month in the pandemic, that was 46%. And post-pandemic, about 30% of the US workforce will work remotely. on top of approximately 50% saying that they will try hybrid work, which is where you work a little bit remote and a little bit in the office. This trend post-COVID will continue, and people will realize that remote work isn't just a perk, but a way to make your company exponentially more efficient than the on-premise counterpart. I wouldn't be surprised if 50% of the Fortune 500 in 10 years from now are working remotely. And there's a ton of industry news which is confirming this exact trend. Last month, Remote.com, a remote-first company that manages payroll more for organizations, global workforces, and a whole bunch of other people, raised $150 million on a $1.4 billion valuation, I believe. Full disclosure, I am invested in Remote.com, but I still think that this is a huge thing for them, and congratulations for them on hitting the unicorn status of tech startup. UK-based HR tech startup Omnipresent has also closed a 12.3 million euro Series A funding round just 5 months after its seed round. The company acts as a local employer on international markets for companies hiring remotely. And just look at Wade, a alumnist and the founder of Zapier. They just took a secondary round off the table at a $4 billion valuation. Remote-first companies are the companies that have investors' clear attention. And this will only continue as we see remote work turn from something that was like an emergency to something that is the new way of doing business. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to be able to hear if you think this is the way that we're going to go, if this is going to be something that really only lasts for the next year or two as the vaccine actually distributes through the rest of the world, or if you think that something completely else is wrong and we're gonna be, I don't know, working out of spaceships over the next couple years. Could happen. Elon Musk could launch those suckers off to Mars and we could all be playing Candy Crush on some type of Martian base. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear your perspectives. Put them down in the comments below. While you're down there, why don't you like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel? It is indeed free, and I talk about nerdy stuff like this all day long.